Welcome back to the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Justin Stoddart. Very excited to be with all of you big thinkers this morning. I have a treat for you. Someone who is a massive big thinker. I can't wait to introduce her to you. We're going to talk all about how to consistently close 100 homes a year from somebody who has done it for 20 years. Seriously, it's unbelievable what she's done. So excited for me to introduce you to her. Before we do that, let me remind you that inside of the Think Bigger Real Estate group on Facebook is where we go deep, right? Here you get great ideas, great concepts. There is where we really take the learning to another level. Be sure you're a member there and that you're interacting. That's where you will really become a big thinker and a high achiever. Today's guest is amazing. Her name is Krista Mayshore. She's out of California, and she is a not only a top producer, but a big thinker like no other. Krista, it's such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for coming on the Think Bigger Real Estate Show today.
Thanks for having me, Justin. I'm excited. I appreciate it.
Yes. I think all of us have this inquiring mind of like the consistency through which you've been a top producer is just phenomenal. I would love to just kind of pick your brain just to start off to say, how did you, in fact, let me start with this. Why did you do that? Let's start with why.
That's a good question. So I used to be a teacher. I taught third grade for 6 years, and my daughter at the time got really, really sick and she almost died. And so they told me she was gonna have a lot of complications. So I ended up leaving teaching, and I was going to just, play real estate. My goal was to sell 3 or 4 homes a year is what I thought, and I'd make what I made as a teacher. And very quickly, kind of my life sort of changed in the fact that I found out one day after just buying a brand new house, right, $4,000 mortgage payment, I found out that my husband at the time was having an affair. And so I ended up having to complete, and then our bank accounts were drained. And, before I knew it, his girlfriend was picking up my daughters, for Thanksgiving, driving my car. It was just one of those things that, can't believe it ever happened. And then, so I went into real estate, full boogie. My first year, I sold 69 homes on my own, and just kind of, and then the reason was my daughters. I wanted to keep them in their home and keep them safe. So we stayed in that home through the recession. We paid $640,000. The house went all the way up to $1.4 million, and then I ended up selling it for around $800,000. And so we did good, but I kept them in there. I raised them there, and until they were around quite a bit older. We were in there about 7-8 years by ourselves, and that was the reason why I did so well my first year.
So I think it's interesting for everybody to hear this, because again, you came in with not a very high goal, right? I mean, it was to replace my teacher income, and all of us know that they, although maybe should be paid higher, right? Maybe some might argue.
Way higher.
Yeah. They aren't the highest paid people in society, and your goal was simply to replace that, have more time with your daughter. At some point, you realize wait a minute, I actually need to produce higher, right? Obviously, your kind of marriage blew up, and it was all on you now to produce. At what point did you start to say you know what? I've now surpassed what I made as a teacher last month, right?
Yeah. I'll never forget my first year. I paid my broker more money in their split than I made as a teacher. So I was on a 70-30 split. I think I did around 700,000, 600. And I remember going to my broker and saying, "Hey, can we negotiate commission?" Because it was 70-30. And she's like, "No." So I left. And when I left, I remember, and she loved me. I love them too. But I was so surprised because she said, "Man, I don't feel so bad that you're leaving. Look how much we made off of you." And I'll never forget that. I was thinking it should be opposite. You should not want me to be going. But they didn't mean it in a mean way. But I remember thinking I just paid them more than I made as a teacher. And I was working for 6 years as a teacher. So it was pretty crazy. Yeah.
Now, how much of your ability to teach people, how much of that contributed to your success?
I think a lot. I remember my broker telling me that teachers do really, really well in the business. Plus, I love people. I'm very much a people person. And, I think the reason why I did so well in the business, was that I was always trying to be different. And I still am. I'm very different, right? So I'm one of the first ones in the area to ever, start using video in my, content. And, back in the day, I remember I used to market my listings on TV, right? At the time, it was really expensive, but it worked. And, anyone can do this. And I'll tell you a story. So I have pretty much sold over 100 homes almost every year in my career. My highest year was 169 homes. And that was with just me and an assistant and a transaction coordinator. There was no other licensed agents. It was 100% me. And because I had the ability to adapt, if that makes sense. So what what I will say is that when everybody else was doing black and white flyers, I was doing 4-page color brochures and then sticking like the little CD on my signs that had like 50 pictures in it, right? I was marketing my properties on television. I had I spent a couple $1,000 for a short little video clip and did a video at the movie theaters, and I spent $3,000 a month marketing myself there. I just did things that people weren't willing to do, and I made sure I was a very early adopter on a video. And I'll tell you what happened. So I remember when the foreclosures hit, I kind of thought things might be happening. So very early on, I got my certified, my CDPE credential. And then I started traveling the country, and I did something called the Dream 100, where I basically would send my big packages to all these asset managers, like, hey, I want to knock your socks off. And I'd have like my whole resume in there with my team, because showing that I had understood like cash for keys and had my inspectors and contractors and all that kind of thing. And so I picked up a lot of asset management companies. I worked with like HUD and Wells Fargo and, Green River Capital and just a bunch of them. And we were doing great, right? That was when, I was selling hundreds of homes every year during the recession. And it was great when the market, got better, but all of a sudden, all my foreclosures went away. Like all of them. It was almost like overnight. I went from selling 100 and something homes to like 12 in a year. And I remember going, what the heck, happened? And so I went on a listing presentation. I didn't get it. I always call and I always say, hey, just, checking in. And if they tell me I didn't get it, I always ask for constructive feedback. And they said, we liked you, Krista, but the last guy called you the foreclosure queen. And I was like, I am the foreclosure queen. Nobody knows me at all in real estate because I didn't do any marketing, right? I was selling foreclosures. Nobody wants to, it was not a good time. It was short sales and foreclosures. And so I realized I had to completely revamp myself. And so what I did was I started studying online marketers and the Fortune 500 companies. What were they doing? And I didn't look at real estate coaches. I looked at digital marketers, and I realized, okay, I need to have a massive online presence. So I started, learning to use Facebook and working on marketing on Facebook. I started using video. I hired a videographer, and, I had him kind of like just start videoing me. And before I knew it, I was back up over 100 homes, and they were all traditional sales. And I made sure that and back then the homes were probably only around 250,000, 300,000, but I went and took a credential called the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing. And I decided that I was going to market every home like it was $1 million home. So I would do like full on video, drone, 4-page calligraphers, do massive email campaigns and digital marketing campaigns on Facebook. And before you know it, like everybody was seeing my stuff. I put paid advertisement behind all the videos that I created so that it get a lot of exposure. And then people were just seeing me everywhere, and they were seeing that I did really high quality stuff. And so all of a sudden my phone was ringing like crazy again. So that's kind of how I transitioned from the foreclosure market into the normal market again.
So Krista, I was on a run this morning with a friend of mine, and he's currently evaluating real estate agents. He's going to list his house. And I'm not a licensed agent, as I mentioned before. And it was really interesting to hear his feedback on 3 different agents, all of which are very good. All of them have high production, very friendly. Just the one that I believe he's going to go with is one who is not resting on their laurels. They're not simply doing what every other agent is doing. They really have something that sets them apart. Now, that doesn't sound like brain surgery, right? It doesn't sound like, it sounds almost so obvious. But I think sometimes, and again, what I'm doing here is I'm pulling out a nugget that you shared with everybody, and I really want to put an exclamation point behind it, because all too often we look around at what are our peers doing. Okay, great. I'm going to do that too then, and I'm going to do it with my smile and my personality, and it's going to work. And I think in today's day and age, things are more competitive, not just with other agents, but with big tech portals, right, that have figured out how to market and sell a home for less. And I think in order for us to be able to really stand out amongst our competition, we have to be doing what you just said there, is we have to be studying the very best businesses in the world, the people that are really getting ahead in, even outside of our own industry, and bringing that into our own industry to really differentiate ourselves. And I can't emphasize that enough. Of your success, I believe, has a lot to do with your ability to look around and learn from people that weren't necessarily who everyone else was learning from.
Yeah, that's very, very true. I was an early adopter on landing pages and funnels. We've built I've built 5, $1 million funnels over the past couple years. We just got our 10X award, which is like $10 million in sales online. So I've just learned to master the online world. Let me give you guys a hint. Okay. So this is a really awesome. So last year was one of the first years I didn't sell over 100 homes. I did 90 homes. And that's because I coach full time. So I sold 90 homes working 5 hours a month on my real estate business, creating videos and writing scripts, right? And then I have this whole process where we go after sellers. So everybody wants sellers right now. I'm going to tell you what I do to get seller leads and how I convert them, okay? So first of all, understand that when I create content, I put an ad spend behind it. So I'm averaging, 70, 80, 150,000 views, 3,000, 4,000, 6,000 clicks, likes, comments, shares on the videos that we do. And, several hundred hours of watch time. So like we've created videos that have, 600 and 557 hours of watch time, 400 hours of watch time, right? And we do this, I do 3 videos a week. And so people are seeing me. So I and Sharon Cervantes, I learned this from him, and he says, you need to win before you arrive, right? You know, Sharon?
I know. Yeah, he's been a guest on the show. Love that guy.
I love him. So he says, you need to win before you arrive. So understand that I'm already winning before I arrive. So when I show up to a listing appointment, or now when my brother does, right? Because he's in the videos with me. Let me tell you the process. So first, they're seeing me everywhere. So what I call the 8 C's. So I commit to consistently producing content correctly meaning I put the right content in front of the right people, and I make sure the content's actually getting exposed. When I do this, I make a connection. So I'm going to convert more clients and customers. And then there's something called the 5 R's. When you do this correctly, you have more, you retain more business, you get more referrals, you get more repeat business, and you do that because of your rituals and routines that you're putting into your business. Okay. So so now people are seeing me and they're knowing me, they're developing a relationship with me. It's actually called a parasocial relationship because of our brains were born, with TVs and all that. We've learned to see somebody on the other side of a screen and kind of think like there's somebody of importance, or we start to develop a relationship with them. That's why we cheer for our characters on TV and we cry for them and all that, because we love them and we think that we know them, right? So this is what I'm doing on a local level. I'm massively exposing myself to my community on a constant basis. So before they even call me, they know that they like me. So when I'm competing with other agents, I have a significant advantage over them, right? So when I compete with other agents, which I used to do all the time, I would almost inevitably always win. Okay. But I made sure that I did things very differently than every other agent would do. And I know that I did it differently because they would tell me, you're the only agent that's done this. I've heard that hundreds of times. Okay. So here's what that would look like. So I start creating content. Let's say I'm wanted to attract sellers. So for example, my December campaign and January and February campaign has all been based towards sellers. So identify what problems sellers are having. And sellers right now, the big problem they're having is they want to sell, but number one, the coronavirus, they're worried about that, right? Or getting exposure to it. So I found solutions to that. They're also worried if they sell, they're going to be homeless because there's no inventory. So we found solutions to that. We created content around that. Then we put those videos out there. People that are watching 75% or more of those videos, I know are probably thinking about selling. So then I target more videos about selling and the solutions. The third or fourth step down that funnel is now I'm going to ask if they'd like a market analysis. Well, they're much more likely to say yes to that market analysis because they've already developed a relationship with me. I've established myself as the authority, and I've given them solutions to their problems. I cannot be a solution unless I'm solving a problem, right? So I'm solving their problem. Then after they request that CMA, then I continue to target them with testimonial videos, with marketing videos, and more seller solutions, okay? After they request the video, I can show you, you can run and grab it, but I hand deliver a market analysis. I do a bomb video, I knock on the door if they don't answer, do a bomb video and say, hey, it's Krista Mayshore, just dropped off a market analysis that you requested. Do me a favor, check your email because I'm going to go over that market analysis for you on a quick 3-minute video. So now I've dropped off a market analysis. I've also dropped off a book, What to Expect When Listing Your Home. Notice it says What to Expect When Selling Your East County Home. I have one that's generic, What to Expect When Selling Your Home. And then I have one that is for an area that I farm, What to Expect When Selling Your Deer Ridge or Shadow Lakes Home. Somebody's like, she wrote a book on what to expect when selling my Deer Ridge, Shadow Lakes home. Are you kidding me? So then I drop off a copy of that. They have the market analysis. They also get my marketing plan. Then I send them a digital copy of my book, a digital copy of my marketing plan, and I go home and I do a Loom or a Zoom video saying, hey, it's Krista. Here's your market analysis now. And I spend 3 minutes explaining that market analysis. Okay. Now I've done all of these things. That's the exact same process that I do prior to going on a listing appointment. Ultimately, that we just got 2 listings from that last week. That strategy right there resulted in 48 seller listings last year, resulting in $740,600 in commissions. Okay. Now I can tell you when I show up to the listing, also they get a 17-minute long pre-listing presentation video that talks all about all the marketing that I do. I show stats on how many homes that I get, how many views that we get. I reference the National Association of Realtors saying that 67% of buyers will walk through a home they see online. I show them, here's the traditional agents do. They have open houses and and even though less than 3.5% of homes sell nationwide from an open house, well, I do all this marketing. So it shows them all this massive stuff, how we target people, how we retarget people, how, NAR says that the average buyer just takes 3 to 6 months, and we can target people from 6 months ago that looked at properties very similar to theirs. This whole video is all about that. Right. And so they're just like, I show how we do virtual open houses. We have a funnel for that. That's what they get before I go there. So when I show up to that appointment, which of course now is not even me, it's my brother, they're like, thanks, Jenny. They're like, oh my God. Like, first of all, you're the only person that did all those things, right? We also have a text message reminder and my personal phone call from my assistant that reminds them about the appointment. So there's 11 touches that we've done. All the while my competitors just show up, right? And then I show up, I have this beautiful presentation package. When I drop off the market analysis, it's, for the CMA request, it's in a beautiful bag that says Homes by Krista, and it's got all this stuff in it. We actually had an agent that one, this is crazy. So there was an agent that was doing pop buys, right? This was about a year and a half ago. Maybe it was like 2 years ago, because it was right around the time when I wasn't showing up anymore. And so I showed up to this one because my brother's like, Krista, you got to come to this one. You got to come to this one. Thanks, Marissa. And so this agent goes to do a pop buy, right? It was like Valentine's Day or something. And so they go to drop off the little hearts and they leave. Then they come back. My package is on the door, right? Hanging on their door. My little, my CMA, they go and they take they take my package. It's on camera. It's on camera. And then they go back and put it back. And they were like, they're showing me this on the listing presentation. I about died. That was the whole reason I went, because I had to see this video, right? And I was like, who does that? First of all, don't ever take anything off a porch, because you're always being filmed, everyone. Don't be that person.
Those poor souls that have to compete against you, Krista. What other option do they have, right?
Oh my God. So she goes, I just want to let you know, for 7 years, these people, they sold us this house. They've been sending me like a pop by every single holiday. And we just have to use you because we see you everywhere and we love your marketing. And I was like, oh, I get it. So my point is like, yeah. So then I also hand delivered, I ordered 22,500 of these books, and I had them delivered to every single home in Brentwood, the city that I live in. And some of them also delivered in Oakley, another city that I work in. So, you have to be willing to do those kinds of things. Now, when my other top producing agents are showing up, I've already won before I arrived, and then I won after I arrived. I continued it with following up, right? So I won because they knew me from the videos. Then I had this whole process that I do prior to getting to the listing appointment, or when they ask for a CMA, then I have my follow-up system afterwards, right? But, the chances, I have to completely suck at the listing appointment for me not to get it. Okay. So that's why that resulted in so many seller transactions, because I did all the targeting beforehand, right? I didn't say, would you like a home evaluation? That's what everyone else does. I developed a relationship with them. I targeted them. I got them to know me. I established myself as the authority. I knew that they were interested in selling. That's why I targeted them specifically. And then I followed it up with that process. So hopefully that helps your listeners.
Like drinking from a fire hose, my dear. So, this isn't meant to be a shameless plug, but it's going to sound like it. So my book, The Upstream Model, if you can see over my shoulder here, teaches you how to get to people before anybody else, before your competition. And I don't know, I wish I would have met you before I wrote the book, because there would have been an entire chapter dedicated to you, Krista.
You can do redo it. And just
I totally will. But like that ability to find out. So first of all, going back to like early on when you said, okay, who knows that these foreclosures are coming? You went and built reputation with the person that was kind of the gatekeeper to all kinds of transactions. Brilliant. And now you've essentially done that again with the internet, right? You realize that the internet is is kind of a gatekeeper to like a real estate transaction. And you've gone, as opposed to just showing up as a stranger in a listing appointment or as just another agent, as you said, you are showing up as an absolute the edified expert, a celebrity truly in front of these people. And like, how could they not choose you by that point? You've completely indoctrinated them.
Absolutely.
Why they need to use you and why they'd be crazy not to use anybody else, right? Despite all the efforts of others that were diligent, yet kind of futile based on your ability to just be everywhere. It's brilliant.
Well, and then what happens is, so ultimately your referrals go up, your repeat business goes up, like all of that, right? So people start to refer. I can't see what she's saying. With all your success, how do we find the direction to go down your path with all these video systems and tools? So listen, do me a favor, Marissa. So I have a 2-day event coming up. It's called, if you go to KristaMashore.com/2dayslive, I have a 2-day event coming up. It's $97 where I talk all about these ninja strategies for 2 days straight. I also have an accelerator coming up next week. It's free for 5 days. I coach for 5 days and I talk all about how to do this and get you brand new agents can do this. So the thing about this strategy, and I'm a coach, so I've taught agents across the country. Brand new agents within a year are beating top producing agents. Like, they don't even ask them about how long they've been in the industry because they just assume, right? Perception is reality, that they've been doing it for a long time. We had an agent, Sula Fave, get voted best realtor, and she hadn't even sold a house yet because she was brand new. She joins the program. We teach her how to do this, and she got voted best realtor in her town. We were dying. We were like, that is crazy. And it's because perception is reality, right? So this strategy works, and there's so many more strategies just like that. So my goal is to have as many tools in my toolbox, right? So that when I show up on that appointment, any objection that I get, like they might say, oh, we're with Compass and Compass has the concierge program. Oh, so do we. Here's our concierge program, right? Or, hey, we have a certified turnkey program. We have all these different programs just in case somebody ever says something to me. And I learned that from the certified pre-owned cars, right? It's like, okay, so certified pre-owned car, I'm going to make that certified pre-owned home. We're going to call it certified turnkey home, right? And so there's just a lot of strategies that you can be willing to do, but you have to be willing. And I'm not very creative. I'm not a very creative person. I'm just good at like seeing something going, oh, okay, that might work here. But I think that many agents, they want the success, right? Like being a real estate agent, it's for you to get a manicure license. It's harder to get your manicure license than it is to be a real estate agent. My daughter right now spent $24,000. I thought it was 18. She goes, Mom, it was like 24 grand that we paid for her to get her beauty license, right? So she's her beauty license. she's getting her beauty license. And with that being said, she's 25 grand in a year and a half of her going to school 40 hours a week for her to get her license. A real estate agent just takes and she's going to cut hair for $30, right? We enter this market, we can make more money than a doctor or an attorney or a lawyer. I mean, my best month in real estate, I remember I made $360,000 in a month, right? In real estate. Right. And most doctors don't make that in a year. So the fact that we can do so well, but yet we're not willing to educate ourselves. We're not willing to get trained or coached. We're not willing to invest. We're not willing to invest in a marketing dollar. Like, it just baffles me. People want the skill and they go, oh, well, once I have the money, I'll buy the skill. It doesn't work that way, right? Like, you have to purchase the skill first. And so I really believe that money likes speed. And so I've hired, I've spent $25,000 for a day coaching somebody, right? I remember where I was almost down to my last, like getting coached by someone, or, $30,000 for a year, or $10,000 for a month. I've done that over and over and over again. I'm doing it right now to learn from people that know how to do these types of things, right? So, it's doable, but you have to be willing to invest your time and your resources. And that might mean sometimes that you do things like you take money, you get a loan, or you take money out of your house or whatever else. That's an investment in yourself. And I think that many people are not willing to do that. They want all the stuff, but they're not willing to do what it takes to get there. If that makes sense.
I think that's a really brilliant point, is you look at the opportunity, right? I think so often, I love people oftentimes who move here from another country because they just look at the soil in which we all get to stand and build businesses totally different than anybody else. They realize that this is truly the land of opportunity. Whereas we get up and we tend to look at all the reasons why maybe we can't and we won't. It all comes down to thinking bigger. It comes down to mindset. Once you see somebody like you, Krista, who's absolutely unlocked the real estate industry to be what it absolutely can be, both from a standpoint of building a massive empire yourself, to helping family after family after family, year after year after year, to now sending the elevator back down to help other people do it as well. Like, it's deeply inspiring. I hope you know that. I'm sure there are countless.
I love teaching. So that was the reason I'm a teacher at heart. And so I remember, so if you've ever read the book, Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill, but he says that, like, when you have this inclination that you need to take it, and So there's two stories behind this. So, and I believe that, right? And most people are so afraid, like to do something, that the fear holds them back from ever succeeding. They self-sabotage, right? They're afraid of, they love their comfort zone. They don't want to leave. But I remember him saying, when you have this little voice, you need to listen to it. So for a couple of years, people kept saying, you're so inspiring, you should be a coach. And I was like, really? And I was like, okay. So one day I just was like, I'm doing this, right? Literally just, my family about had a heart attack because they're all, Krista, normal people don't leave their very successful careers. You're making over $1 million, GCI. That normal people don't do that. Like nobody's ever going to pay you to coach them. We love you. You're amazing, but no one is going to pay you to coach them, especially realtors, because most of them don't have any money. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go for it. Right. And so I just did. And it's been amazing, right? We've done so well. We've helped thousands of agents from across the country. And it's just so rewarding because not only I want everyone, like agents deserve to have more freedom, more flexibility and time. And this strategy allows, like I didn't work weekends when I was a real estate agent. I didn't work nights. I put my last appointment at 4 and people would wait for me. Like just like in a doctor or an attorney or a lawyer, you wait. Like you don't go on weekends or nights. You go during their business hours. When you have a competitive, unique value proposition and you're truly very different and you can position that to people, they will wait and they will adjust their schedules. And so, and also when you have the right systems in place, like my video views while you snooze, right? Views while you snooze. My content is working for me while I'm on vacation. My content's working for me while I'm sleeping, right? And so, and there's so many other ways to use video. Like, for example, we interview local restaurants and we interview local professionals and we just do like, hey, here's the best dog park in town. Here's the best, like tons of stuff like that, right? Today, I'm actually leaving at 9:15. I'm going to be recording a Super Bowl video and like blasting that out there just to be kind of fun, right? And it's all about like, in the fourth quarter, we Homes by Krista, we don't stop, we keep going, and like it's just like fun stuff. We always make it like related to real estate somehow. And then we do videos that have nothing to do with real estate, right? I've trademarked the term community market leader. And what that means is anybody thinks real estate or community, they need to think about you. In order for you to be known, you need to be seen, you need to be heard, or you can't be known, especially now with the coronavirus. It's the only way for you to like make a massive impact, right? And so we love it. It's fun and it makes real estate fun again. One of the things that I hear from people all the time is I'm working less and I'm having fun again. I like real estate again, which is like awesome,
You've really, I think, inspired a lot of people not only to see what's possible in income, but when it comes to independence, when you recognize that the internet and these amazing tools and people who you've learned from and upstream partners can become your referral getters, right? Like they can become your employees without them being your employees, right? They're not on the payroll, but this internet is actually like working all night long, like you said. Like that's brilliant, right? Is the fact that people don't necessarily need you in their home responding to their call like late at night. And I think oftentimes agents will either not get in the business or they'll sacrifice things that matter much more than business, like family relationships, because they actually treat it like an on-call doctor, which actually takes them in the opposite direction of pay of an on-call doctor, right? Like on-call doctors get paid very high. And I believe what you just said to be very true, Krista, which is when you treat your business like that, people tend to like devalue you because you're so available, because you don't actually have business hours. You must need the work, right? You must be like really available. Like that's not necessarily a good thing. And I think you've set boundaries and made it to where you're always working without you always being working, right? You've leveraged tools that make you present. In fact, I remember the first time I had this aha, it was probably 3 or 4 years ago. I started to do a live video every day. And people thought I was crazy. I wasn't very good at it. Some might argue I'm still not very good at it. Anyway, I actually went away on a 2-day little trip with my family. And like when I got back, some people said, hey, I watched your video. It was so good. And I thought, wait a minute, I was gone? Yet people still had my face in their face. Right? Like they were still listening to me. And it was just a powerful aha of like the power of video, right? The power of being able to relay a message when other people, like when you're not there, is so powerful. And I think so often we underestimate the ability to do that. And you've mastered it. And I love how the fact that you've, again, gone outside your industry, because I know you didn't come to the table with all of these skills of targeting, retargeting, all this stuff, right? You've hired mentors. You've hired
Oh, big time. Yeah, absolutely big. I still do. I still train and coach and learn because technology changes so much. Like, so, I mean, I've just hired other experts to become an expert. Now I'm an expert, right? I mean, I'm definitely an expert in digital marketing because we've done so well with it, but it's only because I've invested in learning from other people. You know, I wish I would have, let me give you an example. So when I first went into coaching, I hired the wrong coach. Maybe the coach was more affordable. I don't remember, but I hired the wrong coach and I wasted about 2 years. And when I hired the right coach, fast track, we did 0 to 7 figures in 23 months, was it? In 23 months. And then we just did 8 figures in 35 months. So just under 3 years. And we just had over $1 million month, right? And it's only because of the fact that almost $1.5 million in January during a crisis, like a pandemic. And I don't say that to brag, but I say that because money likes speed. And when you hire somebody who's been there, who's done that, who knows what works, who knows what doesn't, if you're willing to put in the work, you can fast track your success. And I'll give you a great example of how important it is, like, to make decisions quickly. So I'm with EXP now, and my business partner, Jesse, he just showed me his stock yesterday. Okay. It's over $800,000. All right. He's been with EXP for 2 years. I joined a year after him, and my stock is just under $500,000. So I lost $300,000 by not joining when Jesse did, right? And I probably lost more because I think I've done more business, so I would have even done more, right? So that year, it's like, so people have to understand, like, what is it? Don't let a day becomes a week becomes a month becomes a year becomes never. Right? Because you're just not willing to change or to invest or to really kind of think outside the box or to get out of your comfort zone. And let's just be very clear, Justin. I suck on video when I first started doing it. I'm sure you did too. I was uncomfortable. I didn't like the way that I look. I don't love my nose on camera. I'm afraid of what I'm going to say. Are people going to like me? Right now it's like people might be like, oh, well, she just talked about how much she made. Well, she sucks. I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to help, but not everybody, it's not an easy thing. You don't just wake up one day and go, I want to start doing video. Like, you're weird if you actually like it, but the results from it are astronomical. When I put that video in the movie theater, I swear to you, I still have people say, oh, I see your ads in the movie theater. They don't say, oh, I saw. They say, I see your ads in the movie theater. I haven't been in the movie theater for like 5 years, but people will still say, I see your ads in the movie theater. That's how powerful video can be. Recently, about 2 years ago, I was in Mexico. And my best friend, Jennifer, had just showed me these videos of this girl that does hair. And I'm into hair. I got extensions, And so she shows me about 4 or 5 videos of this really cute girl on Instagram. A couple weeks go by. We go to Mexico. I'm in line. I swear to God, I see this girl. And I was like, that is the girl that Jennifer showed me. And I'm in Mexico. And I go, hey, I don't mean to be a weird stalker, but are you the girl on Instagram that does the videos? She goes, yeah. From me seeing a couple of videos, a couple of weeks earlier, I remember her in another country. That is how powerful video is.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And I think people that aren't leveraging it are totally missing out. Krista, we're almost out of time. I wish we could spend more time together. I'm going to find a way that we do that. Here's what I want. In fact, I'm confident that I'm speaking not just for me, but for everybody listening. They're like, oh my goodness, please don't stop, Justin. Let her keep going. Here's the reality, guys, is we have to stop. We have a hard stop here coming up soon. However, the reality is this: do not miss this event. KristaMayshore.com/2 days live. You'll get 2 days of her, right? She's got some other offers as well. But like, if you've been sitting on the sideline saying like, man, my business isn't where I want it to be, and I just wish like the heavens would open and I could catch a break, right? And I wouldn't be chasing all these buyers all over town and competing against 10, 15 people. How do I get the listings? She just laid out for you how she did it. And now she's offering to teach you for 2 days straight. So don't be one of those people that sits on the sideline and said, I know I woulda, coulda, shoulda. Krista has been brought here, delivered to you today from the Think Bigger Real Estate Show to open that pathway for your bigger, better life. Krista, let's move to now just the final question of the show today, which is this. You are a big thinker. What do you do to continue to be a big thinker, to expand your possibilities? Teach us how you continue to grow yourself.
That's a good question. So one thing I didn't tell you is that I haven't lived at home since I was 13. Okay. So, and I have a great relationship with my parents now, but I haven't lived at home since I was 13. I ended up getting in some trouble when I was younger. I was in a juvenile hall and then a group home and then foster home all through high school. And so everything I built has 100% been for me. I paid for my own college and my own car and everything. Right. I realized at one time how important keeping my mental mindset was. So how I think bigger, number one, is I'm constantly learning. I'm always learning, and I'm reading books and positive books, but I'm a master of my mindset. I have learned to absolutely control my thoughts and to be positive and not let, and I'm normal. I have moments, right? I have moments where I get upset, but I don't have days or hours. I have moments. And because of that, because of these moments, I'm so good about just like talking good to myself, being kind to myself, saying good things to myself, believing in myself, like the belief, I believe that I can do anything. And I read in a book from Lewis Howes, where he interviewed School of Greatness. He interviewed people from across the country that were really, really just successful. And he said that one of the things that every single person had was they had a belief system, a belief in themselves. And I've just developed this belief in myself. And I've gotten that way by, I have a bracelet that I teach people to wear. And anytime you have a negative thought, you snap it and you restate the belief and put it on the other hand and say it positive, because we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts that come through our head a day, and many of them are negative, and your subconscious gets what you say and gets what you believe. So much of what I teach my students is all about real estate, but I'm constantly coaching mindset. So it truly changes who they are. And so I just am a master of my mind. And I really encourage everyone to just really, really master your mind, believe in yourself, really be conscious, because thoughts become things, right? What you think about becomes your actions become your life. And so I'm just really careful to what I put in my mind, the people that I associate with, how they think, how they act. And it just has been, it's really helped me. So that, and I believe that's like one of the main qualities that has made me successful, is just my mindset.
I hope that anybody that's listening here that said, man, I had a bad year last year, you just realize what Krista just said. She doesn't have bad years, she doesn't have bad months, she doesn't have bad weeks, she doesn't have bad days, she has bad moments. And then she intentionally moves that to where it's no longer bad. That is a powerful statement that I hope all of us internalize. Krista, it has been an absolute pleasure to spend some time with you. I can't wait to continue to see your rise and the multitudes of people that you're going to impact for good. I know one of them is going to be me. Thank you for your time today. It's such a pleasure. My final request of everybody listening today, I've got two of them. This is different for me. Usually I only have one. You're going to hear my final, but the first one is, please go sign up for Krista's event. This is unbelievable, you guys. This opportunity that she's offered to everybody. Go sign up for her event. The second request is this: go think bigger. Thank you so much, Krista, for helping us do that today, my friend. Such a pleasure.
Thanks for